Today on Locked On Rockies, spring training rolls on. The Rockies roll as well. I know it doesn't mean a lot because it's spring, but there were some examples of important things that happened for two key veteran players of the Colorado Rockies yesterday. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 26th day of February in the year 2025. I am your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you that daily Colorado Rockies talk and reminding you that the best place to be involved with the show, the best place for you to fire off your Rockies hot takes, let me know what's on your mind, and ask the questions you want answered, is on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can check out the video podcasts. You can check out all sorts of great stuff. And hey, if you didn't hear yesterday's episode, I really encourage you to go check it out. Blake Street Banter stopping by and breaking down a lot of prospect talk for us, especially prospects that you, Locked On Rockies listeners, have posted in the Locked On Rockies comment section before. So I made sure to go back. I made sure to find those prospect names that you all brought up, and it's all about, I want to answer your questions and the best I can, because I have to reach out to the Blake Street Banters and the Patrick Lyons and Purple Row and DNVR. I got to reach out to all those guys because we can get more insight, because I got that fan brain like you guys. I always want to learn more. I'm always looking for answers to the big Rockies questions, and folks like Blake Street Banter there, Aaron and Tyler, really doing the great job helping us out there yesterday with honestly a really great episode. When we get Rockies media on this show, I just really think that it goes to a whole new level. I think we just are able to really learn a lot, especially because I think there's so many strengths from different members, from the different outlets with the Rockies. I think that each team that I guess of that cover it do a very good job and find the right ways to cover the team. Obviously, the big dogs, Patrick Saunders and Thomas Harding, of course, they're doing a lot of heavy lifting, getting a lot of insight, having those big platforms for people. But Purple Row, DMVR, Rockies Insider, Blake Street Banter, the list goes on and on and on. They do such good work, and they give you the Rockies analysis. And myself, of course, I like to give you my version of Rockies analysis as well. But I'm just so glad that resources exist for the Rockies fan. Because again, no matter what people want to say, no matter what because anytime you're going to read about the Rockies on the national side, right? I just saw on the Rockies subreddit today, CBS lambasting the Rockies and torching the offseason and stuff with again earned criticism of the team. But I'm just saying, you're not going to get a lot of that from the big names. You're not going to tune into the big names, and you're not going to hear a lot. And coverage is going to dip a little bit from some of the places that once they got to start spreading their time on the Broncos, and if the Nuggets and Avs go deep. I mean, the Rockies relevancy can only be so much, and so I just wanted to kind of take a moment there and just highlight the great work that so many people are doing in the Rockies content and media space there, because really I couldn't do the show without them. I mean, we're going to reference a couple of articles today, so just kind of want to give a shout outs to all the people that are going to be working hard this year, bringing you Rockies coverage and Rockies content throughout the season there. And again, yesterday's episode was really good. All right. Today's episode, I just wanted to kind of highlight a couple of things too, and just kind of two key points of what I want to, of things to be enthused by with the Rockies. And I just want to, and with that, I want to revisit the importance of something that still is something I'm pretty worried about when it comes to the Rockies pitching staff. And I also and it's not on my little rundown there, but we'll talk a little bit about Jan and the strikeout celebrations as well, because I am such a bring life and energy to baseball guy that, again, I can see in certain situations why the strikeout celebration would be a little bit ridiculous, but I don't want to take anything away from people finding great joy and excitement in performing well in a very hard to perform sport. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up as well. All right, let's dive into the fact that the Rockies offense now for a week has been scoring in spring training. Great sign. Is it going to carry over? That's the great big question that we have to keep asking. I'm not so sure, but I do think that it's encouraging in 6 games for the Rockies here. The Rockies have scored double-digit runs twice now. In that time, they have outscored their opponents. Let's see, 20. They've been outscoring their opponents by a good margin here. The only loss they have, they did get blanked in the split squad with the Athletics and tying with the Giants at 2-2 apiece. But then they bounce back with 14 runs against the White Sox here. And they're going to be entering, I think, what will be it's still spring training, but I think coming up, it's going to be a nice chunk of maybe a little bit more of a step up in terms of a challenge for spring training, a step up in terms of the competition to start ramping up the preparation. So it'll be nice to see how the Rockies, handle playing this Royals whatever version of the Royals, the Dodgers, the Guardians, and the D-backs again here over their next 4 games for their next 4 spring training games. All in all, I just the thing that I like to take away from this is I'm liking seeing aggressive approaches from the Rockies. I'm liking seeing the fact that the Rockies are plating multiple runs in the games, and it's not just just solely from the long ball. Though yesterday we had a couple of massive home runs that were really good, and I mean, we're gonna have to. I didn't get a chance to mention this name yesterday, and it's a name that we haven't mentioned a lot. I think we're gonna have to start paying a little bit more attention to what Cole Carrig is doing here, and I wanted to bring up part of this Purple Row article here that we'll refer to a couple of times here from Renee Deckhart. 5 storylines so far from Colorado Rockies spring training, and I just wanted to bring this up here because I think this is the main. A lot of people are talking about a couple of these young guys here, especially after some performances so far this spring. Last week, Bud Black, by the way, emphasized that Zach Veen and Benny Montgomery need to show that when they can stay healthy when gaining experience. He went so far as to suggest that Montgomery would start in Double-A Hartford as a center fielder, which might present a problem given the emergence of Cole Carrig, number 10 on Purple Rose prospect rankings, the Perp list, who has clearly mastered high A. While fans have been told there will be a contest for the third outfield spot, that position initially seemed to go to Jordan Beck, who also experienced injury last season and needs more playing time. But maybe not. Both Veen and Hilliard have been good, granted in limited appearances, plus there's Veen's bat flip that can't be shared too often. But basically, I think this does pose an interesting spot here because, maybe there's going to be even some outfielder competition seeping deeper into the minors at the Double-A level there, or maybe those two guys are going to be able to get on the field at the same time, not playing center field, and maybe someone's playing a little more right field to get that action there. Because, when it comes to Benny Montgomery MLB readiness, I'm not, I think there's got to be a little bit more time before that. And Zach Veen's got the year of experience, as Renee points out in that piece. Veen's got the year of experience over Montgomery. So if any of them are going to surprise break camp with the team, it would probably most likely be Zach Veen, who again is showing a strong spring. Didn't pick up any hits yesterday, but did get on base, did score a run there. Looks like I wasn't, obviously none of us were able to watch, but the big stuff. And I think one of the most important things I think from yesterday, and again, it is the tiniest of sample size, and we need to see far more than this. But the Kris Bryant home run is worth talking about. And I know I'm looking at my phone here, but I'm pulling up something specific here from Patrick Lyons yesterday, because it's at least something if we wanted to dive deeper into the spring training home run to find some actual something to take away from that, it'll be this. And it's here's the tweet here. Kris Bryant's home run today traveled 462 feet with a 112 mile per hour exit velocity. As Tyler Bedore points out, that's vintage KB. First home run at 112 miles an hour since 2017 versus Ubaldo Jimenez. First home run at 462 feet since 2016 versus Jeff Hoffman. It shows that the power is there. It can still be there. And again, mind you, that it's spring training. It's it's what level of the pitcher is he taking yard XYZ. Certainly throw all that context in there. It's important context to have. But when you hit a ball the way you haven't hit it in years, it's a sign to me that the power that we all thought was basically gone, and at least maybe I shouldn't say we all thought, that I thought was gone, based off of course, the health problems and where the injuries were in the back, something that's really, really important when it comes to swinging a baseball bat, in that rotation that you generate there, mixed with the fact that when he was healthy, when he was playing, he wasn't necessarily hitting the hell out of the ball. That's crushing a baseball. And again, if we see another one, again, maybe not 462 feet, 112 miles an hour off the bat, but if we can start seeing good, solid, hard hits from Kris Bryant, it's a total game changer. It truly is. I mean, because I was really thinking about this, and I mentioned it, of course, through a couple of times throughout the offseason and stuff, about how the Rockies have relied too much on Ryan McMahon as the big offensive threat. And because I was like, has he really, has McMahon ever really fully fit into that 4-hole, 3-hole dominant power hitter? And the numbers don't really back it up ever in terms of what exactly we're looking for that dominant big bat threat. And the last couple of seasons, McMahon has had to be that version, and it shows, and it's reflected in the Rockies' low offensive numbers and the Rockies' weak offensive output, because Ryan McMahon's a solid player, but I think we can safely say that Ryan McMahon is a great player, but he's not that total game changer that we were thinking he might be a couple of seasons ago. Doesn't mean he's not good. Doesn't mean that he's not positively contributing to the Rockies. Does not mean that he is not a solid player. Again, an all-star last year, 2.5 WAR season last year, there and a career WAR of 15. But the Rockies need they really do. And will they get it? I'm not sure. But the Rockies need vintage KB. They need a guy that can hit home runs. They need a guy that they need to do what Kris Bryant was originally brought in to do, and for him to go back to where he has been in his season or in his career. Get back to a guy that can drive in, home runs for you a couple of times. This is a guy here that had 25 home run season, 31, 29, 39, 26. I mean, there are multiple times, and I know that's back when he was Rookie of the Year and MVP, but if that core guy still exists, if that power still exists there as he's entering in to his 11th season of Major League work, it will change the dynamic of the Rockies lineup drastically. Same with if this offense is able to start carrying things over here, if including the young guys here, if these guys are able to start generating offense the way that they have been in spring training, which again, I got the grain of salt, put the asterisk there, but it's encouraging, I think, to see that this team is plating runs, something they've really struggled to do. So with all of the context of spring training and all of the reality settling in on that, it still have your doubts. Absolutely. but it's really good to see that Kris Bryant gave us an eyebrow raise moment. Gave us a swing and a hit that was like, oh, I didn't think that was really still in there. I figured that he could still hit some home runs and stuff, but not crushing a ball like that. That takes a lot of everything. And, there's still good things. And I liked this quote here from, because we're going to refer back to this article as well. Marquez happy to be back in spring action as he eyes healthier 2025. That's by Thomas Harding. We're going to go back to get that the Marquez insight, but I just wanted to bring up this part about Kris Bryant here, and this is what Harding writes. Kris Bryant is willing to go through the daily work to keep his often troublesome back in shape if it leads to swings like his 2-run homer off White Sox-hander Jairo Irate in the 4th inning. I find early mornings are always going to be tough, Bryant said, but by the time the game comes around, which is more like the season is going to be, I feel like I'm in a really good spot. The homer was a reminder of the type of threat a healthy Bryant can be. He has been limited to 159 games over his past 3 seasons with the Rockies because of injuries, mostly to his back, and his swing has lacked thunder when he has been able to play. But Tuesday's blast left his bat at 112 miles per hour, according to StatCast. So again, it's the small stuff. It's the spring training. It's the classic, I'm in great shape. I'm feeling good. But I like the honesty there. I like the honesty that he opens up about it and still says he's like, it's still not perfect. I still am dealing with it. So it's not putting a full blinder up to that. But it's got to feel good for KB to be able to get that swing off and be able to get that bat through the zone and drive a baseball like that again. That's got to be a good confidence booster and a good boost for him, thinking that, hey, I can still do this. And I think confidence boosting during the spring, mixed with staying healthy, is a good recipe for Kris Bryant. All right, let's take a quick break and let's talk about the other veteran player, Germán Márquez, that we got to talk about from yesterday's game. We'll dive into that next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that's Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10%. Yes, 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to keep you feeling fuller longer. Hey, maybe you don't want to deal with, the shells. They can get a little all over the place. It can be a little bit of a mess. Well, guess what? They got the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days, whether you're snacking at your desk, on the road, or just need a quick protein boost. You can find them wherever you find your pistachios. And they got, like I said, shell version, no shell version. They got you covered when you're looking for that protein-packed snack. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. That's wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show, firing off your Rockies hot takes, letting me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. All right, so we were talking about the first veteran player that had a good sign from yesterday. Let's talk about the second one, but let's talk about the fact that, again, it's another one where it's a good sign, but there's also a brief little hint of something that we got to talk about here, and it's about control. It is the most important thing that the Rockies pitching staff can do this year. It's not just the starters. It's not just the bullpen. It is every single pitcher on the Colorado Rockies. You must hit the zone. You have to hit the zone. And you simply cannot be a team that walks 563 batters again. And it's so why I'm bringing this up, it's because Germán Márquez comes out and he looks good. He gets a couple of strikeouts. 2 walks, though. 2 walks in a couple of innings. The Rockies in general yesterday, as a pitching staff, picking up, let's see, 5 walks. 5 walks there from the Rockies pitching staff. Mind you, every Rockies pitcher had a crooked number in strikeouts except Tommy Doyle that pitched yesterday, and they're able to set some people down. However, it's still not enough. It is going to be the Rockies at no point in any ball game this year can afford to give up walks. It is how the late rallies will start that will kill your bullpen and will eliminate your wins and turn them into losses in the late stages of ball games that we saw. It's how games will get out of hand and the Rockies trail early and trail often again. This is an issue that again, it's not full-blown panic attack about the Rockies' control over in the first full week of spring training or moving into the second. But it is the thing where it's just like, just as much as I raise my eyebrows at the good stuff, keeping that eye focused on some of these things, some of the areas like the walks there. But let's focus on the good. Let's talk about the good stuff about Germán Márquez's appearance yesterday. 98 miles per hour. 98 miles per hour. And it's not just, and I know put the spring training context back on it here. And again, I know it's hey, I'm in great shape. I'm feeling great. However, I think it's really good to hear the confidence in Germán and what he's saying about being out there and being healthy again. It is a long journey back to the mound for Germán Márquez this year, and it's different this year than it has been in the last couple of years, and it's different now than it was when he came back, and clearly things still weren't right. He's been able to go through progressions and workouts and things, and he's feeling healthy and ready to go. Germán Márquez is easily one of the most important Rockies on the roster. And his success is going to open up a million, well, not really a million, but what feels like a million possible outcomes for the Colorado Rockies. But really, it will set the stage for 2 things. If Germán Márquez is a successful pitcher in the first half of 2025, the Rockies will have to make a decision. If you do not trade Germán Márquez, you are saying we are committing to Germán Márquez and we are reassigning and extending him again. If he's playing well, if he's pitching well, not necessarily a move that I'm going to be against. I think Germán Márquez, has been special, but it is, again, just turned 31. We're going to be entering that back half of the career. What does that look like going forward here? Mixed with these injuries, there's always that type of asterisks to put on it. But pitchers are a different breed. But it also opens up the door of, if Germán Márquez is pitching great, the Rockies could move on from him and bring in some more stuff and really embrace the rebuild and things like that. I think that it could lead to success either way. Me personally, I am a person that, like, if a Germán Márquez extension is announced, I'm not against it. I think a healthy Germán Márquez has demonstrated time and time again that he is an impact pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. Yes, there have been issues before. Yes, it's obviously he hasn't won a Cy Young or anything like that. But this is still a guy that's going to go down in Rockies history books as the best, if not the best, Rockies pitcher of all time. This is a guy that for the Rockies can bring you triple-digit strikeouts and get into that mid level of triple-digit strikeouts. This is a guy that brings something completely different to the Rockies rotation and sets them up with hey, when you go into a series against the good starters, you got to get through Germán. And that's not as easy. That's easier said than done. The division and stuff, they got the film, they got all that type of stuff. But he is the type of guy that really changes the status of the Rockies rotation. And again, so 98 pitches, 13 pitches in the first inning, but dealt with some issues in the second there, able to navigate the issues with the walks. But It's just the guy that, as much as we need Kris Bryant to contribute, I don't think I think the same can be said for Germán Márquez, even with the contract situation and things like that. I mean, if you want to start the season off on the right foot, and I mean, if he's healthy, there's not a doubt in my mind that Germán Márquez is the opening day starter. I mean, I think that's clearly the case. And let's get just a couple of quotes here from this piece. It felt so good to be out there, Márquez said. I'm happy to be back. Everything was working. My fastball was down from the stretch. I felt like I was a little quick, but I will find out by studying the outing. An all-star in 2021 and a key member of 2 postseason rotations before that, Márquez's health eluded him in 23, and he ended up needing Tommy John surgery. He worked his way back last year, but after his lone start, allowing 3 runs to go with 3 strikeouts in 4 innings in the Rockies' 8-5 victory over the Mets, Márquez was diagnosed with a stress reaction in his right elbow. Márquez and the club decided to shut it down for the rest of 2024. Tuesday was the beginning of what all hope is a lengthier 2025. Tuesday's occasion was a happy, if not necessarily smooth, for Márquez. A second-inning leadoff walk to Josh Rojas came on just 4 pitches. Márquez fell behind Lynn Sosa at 3-1 en route to a 6-pitch walk, but Márquez ended the frame with a pitch reminiscent. Oh my goodness, did I stumble on that one? Of his most effective days, a curveball that Austin Slater grounded to first base. A couple of them were good. So I guess mainly my big point is this: 2 guys, a lot of work left to go, and small sample sizes. So we don't need to get overly excited about it, but we don't need to ignore it either. These are positive signs that we don't want to lose sight of when we're analyzing the Rockies' preparation for the season. All right, folks, let's finish up the show here with just a quick couple of comments on something you might have seen on the internet yesterday. Let's do that next. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot. Thanking you all for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen of the day, go check out our pal Sully on Locked On MLB. Hey, you probably saw, and I was trying to find the first name pronunciation, but is it Jeffrey? It might be, is it Hefrion or Jeffrion? But anyway, Rockies got a guy out here. They signed him to a minor league deal a couple of months ago, and when he celebrates his strikeouts, he jumps up into the air, does a little bit of a splits, and and swipes the ground and does all sorts of stuff. Certainly you could be concerned about what that might mean for possible injury concerns, or maybe you're saying, oh, that's a bit too much, but not me, man. If that's your if that's your routine, if that's what puts you in the zone, if that's what has you mentally in the spot to get strikeouts, I love it. Now, it's not going to work all the time, and it ain't going to look that good if you're playing a game, a midseason game against the Dodgers, and you give up a home run, and then the next, to put the Dodgers ahead, and then the next batter you're jumping up and down and doing that. There's going to be, a time and a place for it. But I said this a little bit before about Zach Veen. Energy is important. Energy and passion and love of the game and just love of being out there is something the Rockies need. The worst part about the bad stretches of the Rockies, especially in the last 2 seasons, is the times where the team has just felt lifeless. The team doesn't have an energy. The team goes up to the dish, strikes out, womp, womp, 10 strikeout game, womp, womp, you lose 6-3, type of stuff where it's just like, ugh. It's nothing. It's not like I just love big baseball personalities. I think baseball, as it's continuing to go through a growth period, like internal of shifting away from some of the old rules and the old standards and the old guard and all that stuff into this new era of baseball, I think it needs to be embraced, because you just watch baseball in other areas. You watch, some of these leagues where the entire crowd it's like a soccer game, and there's banners and wave and flags and chants and music and cheers and energy. I just don't, again, baseball with how many games and everything, and with, maybe a 95-degree hot day in the summer afternoon isn't going to always be the most conducive for that, but it's fun. It's energetic. It brings life. It brings passion. It makes the game, more in line with the other sports, with the cheering and the ranting and the raving. And you love when a baseball stadium erupts in noise during the postseason or big moments when an entire crowd reacts to the crack of a bat. So why not have, I send in the light shows for the closers to come in, have the guys jump up and do the things, stay healthy, please. If you make the team. But it's okay to have fun in baseball. It's okay to be an energetic and charismatic person and play baseball. Baseball needs energy and charisma. Baseball is better with energy and charisma. Again, time and place for everything. It does matter when you do, stuff like jumping up in the air and celebrating your strikeouts. But it's spring training. It's a guy trying to get a major league deal, trying to prove that he can get, that he can make a major league roster, and he's having fun with it, because at the end of the day, sports are fun, and they should be. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back in action with more Rockies talk tomorrow, reacting to spring training and more right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Find us on your favorite streaming services and find us on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB with our guy Sully. And if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets, and Locked On Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.